It's a time for more packages from China. Let's go.
So comfortable wise, I think the metal shell can have like a little bit of a negative impact on this. Because when it comes to like the metal shell, it does feel really premium and I think it's absolutely a cool gimmick. However, if you're going to be looking at the older models, they were like tinier and I wouldn't say more comfortable, but because of the weight, it was still, let's say, playable and enjoyable. And I've noticed by actually playing with this thing for quite a long while, I must say that it's not going to be like really comfortable. I've seen all kinds of Powkiddy, other brands, also say Emmerdick having better overall form factors. I don't understand why they went for this option because, you know, form factor, convenient, I think it's like more important than having a metal shell. The positive side about the metal shell is actually if you're having this thing set to passive mode, or at least the weird thing I've noticed that when it comes to this device, it was automatically set to like off of the fan. Not a good thing. I'll show you later what I mean. But with a 355 grams, when this thing weighs, is absolutely a beefy boy. With the size, the metal shell, I don't know. It's not going to be like one of my favorite devices to play. I personally really have like an RG477M or a 557 because they're like bigger, but they are more comfortable to play in the long term. So when it comes to the volume and the on and off switch, they give it a little bit of a depth, so it's not easy to accidentally like press it or so. So that's one of the many things that they improved in this model. At the back we find the two pieces of plastic, and this is not for giving any grip on your table if you're going to be putting it flat surface, but this has to do because the intake fan still needs a little bit of space. I don't know if it's going to be a great idea. You can actually see it slides like crazy. It's like an air hockey puck, but the point is actually this is just giving this, let's say, intake fan a little bit breathing room, but I wouldn't really recommend doing that if you're going to be putting it flat on the table. Still, there is not a lot of space between it. However, you're having USB-C over here, audio jack, and a micro SD card, and over here we're going to be having two speakers, and they sound okay. The stereo effect is spot on when it comes to playing an emulation, but when it comes to, let's say, ergonomics, that is going to be another story. So the form factor I mentioned, I'm not the biggest fan of this, and we can have like a minor improvement with the case that comes with it, by the way. If you're going to be deep diving into your package from China, you're going to be finding this bumper. It also comes with some cleaning cloth and the cable, and of course a screen protector. But the bumper is something of an interesting story, because even this thing is not like the most ergonomic thing going on. Oh, wait, other way around. So I must say that clicking this thing in is super easy, but oh man, the ergonomics is even so much better. I mean, it's a little bit bigger now, but also when it comes to like reaching in the shoulder buttons, it's absolutely an improvement. So this is a bumper I'm going to be really loving. Of course, it should like went for like a little bit, let's say, of a bigger bumper model thingy, but you know, yeah, this is an improvement. So I'm very glad they implemented this into the kit. So with the D-pad, for me it's going to be one of the most important elements when it comes to the device like this. So, but how is actually the overall movement configuration? I do need to get used to the overall, let's say, configuration with the D-pad, the travel and everything, but when I'm getting the hang of it, I must say that I am quite surprised how good it actually is. It's not like the best D-pad out there, but I must say that when it comes to playability, this is absolutely great. However, you're going to be playing with the analog stick, of course, this is going to be way better than like normal, like cheap devices. But yeah, this is one of those things. I must say that I am quite surprised of the overall, let's say, performance of the D-pad, but also when it comes to the analog sticks itself. Because it comes with a 4.7-inch LTPS display with a resolution of 1280 by 960, having Android 14 with all of the capabilities like Wi-Fi and etc. So when it comes to the battery, 5300 milliamp, giving you around like 7 hours of time. We can like maximum charge it with 27 watts, and the Dynasty 8300 processor that will give us some amazing overall performance. So to begin with, if you're going to be playing some arcade games, you don't have any problems there. Also when it comes to playing some autonomous wave, I don't notice any, let's say, problems on native resolution. But the screen itself is absolutely looking amazing, combining this with the right games, having a Giga Wing number 2, and if you're going to be playing this through the arcade emulator, this runs perfectly without any stuttering. Of course, we can also do a little bit of upscaling if the emulator gives you the option for it, but for native resolution, I think it just looks fine on these devices. But if you just want to play some old school games, is it actually worth buying such an expensive device? If you just want to play some old school Mortal Kombat on arcade and you don't really care about the 4.7 inches of display, I think this is going to be a complete waste of money, because where this thing actually runs Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, Ultimate, whatever, it runs all flawlessly. Still have like a little bit of fun. I think in Killer Instinct that is going to be really challenging, and maybe some Tekken MAME, but I think you can just play these games or like other devices for like $50 or so. Depending on what emulator you're going to be running, out of the box it will run to the re-end cost through RetroArch, but if you're going to be installing some Redream, you can even do a little bit of an upscaling, but you need to purchase the emulator through the Play Store itself. And the overall performance of Dead or Alive 2 and others, the ones I've always loved to test, they run just perfectly, and they look absolutely amazing on a device like this. But PlayStation 2 would be one of the reasons why you're going to be spending so much money on a device like this. Emulation has become significantly improving over the years on these, let's say, flagship devices, to a point that we can actually play this game and just enjoy them on full speed. And then again, if you just want to play a PlayStation 1 game, you can just do that on a gazillion handhelds now for under $50. But if you want to play PlayStation 2 and still want to have like an overall great experience, and yeah, this thing comes with rumble motors, so everything is going to be working as it is. Of course, we don't have the sensitive button input that we have with the original controllers. That is one of the concessions that we're going to be making. But when it comes to the overall performance, I think this is going to be a really enjoyable overall experience. Another system that's going to be running awesome on this is just the GameCube. So we have all kinds of GameCube emulator possibilities, but when it comes to, let's say, the high-end flagships, I think that is one of the appealing parts to it. So besides PlayStation 2 era, also the GameCube is one of those cool things you can actually play on here. So I did notice like it's going to be, sometimes you're going to be a little bit of tweaking. They're running out of the box on the MMJR emulator from Dolphin. So this can be a little bit of a situation that we're going to be switching between emulators to see which game will run the best on what. And of course on native resolution, I think we're going to be having a lot of fun. Through the same emulator, we do have the option to actually play Wii games. And I think that's kind of cool because there are a lot of cool games on there like Rhythm Paradise. The only weird thing I've noticed, if you're going to be messing with like the Dolphin emulator and you're getting into the Wii games, yeah, some of the controls are completely messed up with Sonic the Hedgehog 4. So that was quite unfortunate actually. So we're going to be using the up and down button for actually playing that game. I can tell you, it's a kind of interesting, let's say, experience, because I've been playing this game for a long time now, and playing it like that, of course, you can fix it if you want to, but out of the box, I just wanted to see what happens, and there are a lot of things that you still need to tweak, and that is one of the things when it comes to the Android part. However, let's move to the Wii U. So the Wii U part, I think that's even also an interesting story. So somehow, out of the box, I always had like this similar like Wipeout clone game that I really love to play. The unfortunate is that the speed itself of the overall emulation is great, but still have a lot of glitches, and I'm guessing this has to do with the emulator or maybe the compatibility. So I don't want to say too much negativity about the overall gameplay itself, but I find it interesting to see that we can actually play Wii U, but yeah, let's be honest, Wii U didn't have like a lot of great games on here that we can actually play like this, but still, it's fun that actually can be played on the device like this, but I rather to see some PlayStation 3 emulation than actually having some Wii U, but that's my opinion. So moving on to another emulator that was quite difficult to emulate, and that's going to be the Sega Saturn platform with the Yaba Shenjiro 2 emulator. And I can tell you that the first impression is that, yeah, we do have like this massive black bar at the bottom that has to do with the resolution. So that's one of the many things that we're going to be needing to fix. And I think that is one of the, let's say, tinkering situation you're getting with even with such an expensive device. So if you want to have something that out of the box works perfectly, I think there's still a lot of improvement there. However, the emulation performance of Sega Saturn is really enjoyable. With the PlayStation Portable, I had some interesting things going on. I just wanted to check it out, 1080p upscaling to see what is going on, can we actually handle this? But with Wipeout, I had a lot of stuttering and I couldn't get to the full speed. So I just started tinkering with this device. Okay, so let's see what's going on over here. So let's put this thing on 3 times, just see. And I was just messing around with it. Maybe I can do a deep dive into the software to see what kind of setting is actually implemented. That gives a little bit of, let's say, a problematic situation over here. So it has been set to Vulkan. Maybe we can mess around with that. But I was just messing and see what's going on. We do have, like, by the way, these 2 massive black bars. So again, like there's something you're going to be seeing with also with Android games. So this display is, in my opinion, not perfect for playing PlayStation Portable games. We can do upscaling, that is possible. And yeah, the performance is really enjoyable, and PlayStation Portable looks absolutely amazing on this. However, yeah, PlayStation Portable is one of those devices that can be emulated now on maybe cheaper devices out there. So I would say take consideration that if you want to get PlayStation Portable going on, maybe this is not the right handheld for actually playing and upscaling and messing around with.